What it do, man? It's your boy Battle Truth coming to you live and direct from the Battle Truth headquarters. Let's get right off into this, man. Battle rap never seem to sleep. It's always something, man. If you ain't the news for today, you definitely gonna be the news tomorrow or next week, man. It never gets tired. It's always something going on. Well, apparently some young lady named Frank Nitty who had affiliation with We Go Hard and a lot of the people over there on that league basically assaulted physically and sexually. Um, so apparently there was a guy groping her without her permission, uh, and that was just terrible, out of pocket. And we see things like this ever so often taking place in this community. We're seeing a woman come forward and accused unbiased of touching her at events and groping her chest. We saw another woman accuse him of filling on her. We saw the Greedy Gotti situation that happened where the woman said that he was touching her inappropriately. We seen the snake eyes and rock thing happen where the girl Rock was saying that he was being very aggressive towards her and was trying to assault her, and she was telling him no. So we see a lot of these women being aggressively stalked, approached, touched, disrespected, and that's out of pocket. And in this type of community where it's 98% men, I think brothers need to be more accountable when holding other brothers accountable to their actions. When you're taking women against their will and you're doing these type of things that you're doing, man, I believe that we as men, we have a duty to protect women and children of all ages. And when someone wrongfully hurt them and take advantage of them and abuse them, then we should not be standing idle. We should hold men accountable. Now, this woman also goes on to say that she was physically assaulted also, by which the guy, P.E.'s, was being very violent towards her, aggressively disrespecting her, following her through her own house where she was having like a get together with some of the artists from We Go Hard, and she was telling the guy, to leave, and he was very belligerent and threatened to put hands on her, and ended up swinging off on her and hitting the woman. Much respect to the young lady, Frank Nitty. She ends up uh, fighting back, and rightfully so. Fight back and taking the skillet and off the stove and cracked him open. He didn't like this too well. He was leaking blood. She busted his face open. Then he pulled the knife, the P-Easy guy. He pulled the knife and basically was threatening in some type of way to hurt this woman as a result of what she did to him. This could have got real bad. This could have got real ugly. Despite how sad this is, we see this go on all over the world, man. You got a lot of emotional guys out here, a lot of emotional dudes out here. They very emotional, can't control their temper, their attitude. They don't know how to be men. They catching all type of temper tantrums. They don't know how to express themselves without disrespect and violence and maturity. They definitely terrible, man. They definitely got bad spirits. In this day and age, man, there's so many women that's been shot, stabbed, beat up, abused as a result of so many weak, sensitive, emotional men. And this ain't no different. This ain't no different at all. So she said that he punched her in the face. And then she took like this block and threw it at him. Uh, she said she grabbed the pot off the stove and cracked them open. One of the brothers named KO ended up jumping up and slammed him up on the wall like, bro, what you doing, man? You tripping. You out of pocket. You don't put your hands on no female. Shouts out to him for trying to, you know what I'm saying, humble that situation and get order, man. But again, these things is bad. These things are terrible when you see things like this happens. Shouts out to J Love too, and I believe Jay Baller. Those were two other persons who were trying to, get control of the situation and bring it under control. But these people be out of pocket, man. They be very, very out of pocket in the things that they doing, man. And you have to take into consideration the era we live in, where you got a group of guys who are okay with this type of stuff. They don't only condone it, they co-sign it and also participate in these matters. Not only that, in this day and age, when anything pop off or anything happen, what's the first thing people want to do? Hold their phones up, put their phones up, hold their phones up, like, yeah, hold your phone up, you know what I'm saying? And show anything because they don't want to miss anything, no matter how dangerous things can get, rather than calming that situation down so it won't intensify. So many women in the grave because of that. So many guys behind bars because of that. Just emotional men. Don't know how to control themselves. Always in their feelings. Just something wrong with that picture, man. It really is. And it's terrible to report on things like this. A woman should have a right to her privacy and the things that she wear. In regard to how provocative it is, you don't have a right to touch her without her permission. You don't have a right to take without her permission. You don't have a right to do such a thing. And some guys just don't take rejection too well. Some guys just is violent, and sometimes it takes for things like that to happen for it to come out so it can be recognized and seen. But I also know women can provoke guys too to wrath. I know that. And I'm wise enough to know every story got another side to it. I'm wise enough to understand that too. I don't believe everything that's being said about women just because a woman said it. But I'm wise enough to put the fact together to come up with a solution or idea of what may have went on. I'm wise enough to know that too. Because again, I done seen it on both ends before. I done seen women just as bad as the guys in this era. Like I done seen women do things. Here's the thing about the double standard in this situation. And rightfully so to some degree. But you see how women can touch our chest or touch our butt or come up to us and touch our private. As men, we just be like, man. But you can't do that as a man to a woman. It's shunned upon. It's shunned upon. And rightfully so, because again, women need to be protected. Children need to be protected. And that's mandatory. That goes without saying. Now, I'm saying this to say I have seen both sides though. I've seen women violent to guys when guys don't be trying to be violent to them. And We just live in terrible times, man. We really do. I believe that brother who did that to that woman, man, if you willing to go that far to do that, brothers be having that stuff in their past and in their history. This ain't something that they just actively just thought about doing today for the first time. When you're able to go that far and to do those type of things like that in a public setting with other people around you, I can imagine how aggressive a person can be in a private setting. Real talk. And just be mindful, Frank, Nitty, sweetheart, just be mindful. Be careful, man. Like I listened to some of that story and you just talking about how like a lot of people was in your house, people was sleeping and lounging, other people was in the bathroom doing what they were doing. So you got to be careful of the setting you put around because brothers can get the wrong impression also, believing that because of whoever they is or what they do and get the wrong impression you leading them on or they believe that you may want to mess with them to some degree. I mean, you couldn't imagine the thoughts that run through people's head, like on an everyday basis. So you want to be careful of that. You want to be protective of yourself and try to avoid unnecessary things that's in your power that you can avoid. So these things won't happen like this no more. I mean, it's just terrible, man. Like the world we live in and the things that people be willing to do and how far they willing to go to be accepted and for attention and for clout, you know. Um, so I want you to just be mindful of that. Like, and brothers need to be held accountable for their actions. They really do. Brothers need to be held accountable for their actions. And like I said, that brother pulled the knife, and then you're in the presence of all them people. Then you claiming to be a battle rapper too. I wouldn't have been surprised if that man wouldn't have cut that woman and stabbed her to some degree. He embarrassed, his face bleeding. He popped off on her. I don't know what was the extent to her damages because she didn't look like she was cut or nothing, but he popped off on her. She busts his face open. He pulls a knife. So that could have just been bad. Somebody could have easily lost their life as a result of that, like that. On either way. Even when two people getting into it, you got to be careful when you're trying to intervene, step in to break things up. Because sometimes that can turn out to be tragic toward the other person who has nothing to do with the altercation. I know a person that happened to, a young girl, man, and I had to help bury that little girl as a result of intervening and stepping in between two people in it with each other. Two people in it with each other, and as a result of two people being in it with each other, these two people that was in it with each other, one of the persons ended up stabbing her, man, and killed the little girl, man. She was like 13 years old. Her mom and them couldn't afford the funeral, but they lived it in my neighborhood. And I heard about it and got wing of it and made it my business to go to their house and help them pay for the funeral, you know. So them things happen, man. So you want to be careful, y'all, and just try to avoid unnecessary things, man. You got to be careful in this day and age. All these people got so much going on with them. They wrestling with demons. They wrestling with mental health. They wrestling with drugs and pills and alcohol and heartbreak and depression and loneliness and suicidal thoughts. All these things be working with a person's head. So you want to be mindful of that and be careful of those situations, man. You know, sad the thing happened like this, but it is what it is. With that being said, it's your boy Battle Truth. It ain't my judgment that's in question. It's yours. Subscribe to Battle Truth.